Okay, good morning. I think we are streaming live on Facebook this morning. Al Ingalls here at pressure-free.com. You're not going to see my face this morning because I got in, I don't know, I guess it was close to 2 o'clock last night or 2 a.m. this morning. So that's a view out my window. When I wake up, I thought we'd look at that instead of my puffy face since I just woke up. And topic today for you is travel anxiety. Um, People often trigger the stress response when they're traveling, whether it's for a small commute to work or school, or it is a big trip. So I just flew to Houston 2 days ago. Um, Actually, one day ago. It was a 2-day trip though, because we drove to Detroit Friday evening. We stayed overnight at the Westin, by the way, for any of you in the Detroit metro area or Michigan and you fly out of Detroit. I've never done that before, and I highly recommend it, especially if you do have travel anxiety or anxiety about going through TSA. Staying at the Westin, we they actually have their own TSA set up right out of the hotel, right into the Delta terminal, an international terminal. Anyways, really, really nice. So I highly recommend it because it reduces some of that travel anxiety. I read a study several years ago that shared that if your commute is 15 minutes or more in the morning, you most likely have triggered the stress response. In that 15 minutes, you're probably going to encounter something or have a feeling like you're running late. There's going to be something that causes you to trigger the stress response. And so that early morning is the time to really be vigilant and notice what's making you feel angry or annoyed, anxious or afraid, ashamed or argumentative. If you're with other humans trying to get to school or work, the argumentative one could come into play. Annoyance for sure if you're running late, someone in the family's running late. And then when you're on the road, if another driver doesn't follow your particular rules and you have a little bit of annoyance about that or even some road rage, that can cause you to trigger the stress response. So watch even a 15-minute commute. But I want to talk about some of the deeper travel ones, the ones that I noticed on this particular trip, because I haven't flown since February of 2020 when I flew to Vegas with my eldest son. That's the last trip I have made until this weekend. And here's a few things that I noticed. Storms, of course. So you can keep track on your phone of everything today. So you can find out, are storms coming in? My son actually changed his flight. And he did it really beautifully the night before because actually they texted him and said, do you want to change your flight? Because it looks like a big storm is going to hit the East Coast. So you could start to get worried about the storms, worried about getting home. So preparation can help you with that. Take some time to set up preparation that isn't worried, but is really more intent on, do I need some alternatives? We're usually in such a hurry to get home from our trips that because there's stuff on the other side of that. We've got to get to work, we've got to get to school. We didn't get everything done we thought we would get done before we left. So watch for some of those hidden triggers too when you're on a trip. Are you stressing out over things that don't even have to do with the actual trip? So I see a hurry up, we're going to be late kind of mentality oftentimes with trips. And then you might get there and then your plane might be delayed or the travel is delayed. So that's another thing to keep an eye out on. So prepare that there could be some alternatives and it's going to be fine. If you miss your flight, there'll be another flight. And hopefully it'll be in time for the thing that you're trying to get to. But just having a little more flexibility in the way you think about it can definitely be helpful. One of the things that I notice that's different is, and really in the past, 10 years or so, um, is that when you travel, people seem to be um, much more indifferent to each other. Like there's not as much talking to strangers as there used to be. Um, I still do usually. On my trip there, I had a marvelous talk with a young man who we just had so much in common, and it was just an amazing talk. On the way back, um, both of the people next to me, I was sitting in the middle, had their headphones on immediately, and there was just no talk at all, not even a greeting or anything. And I didn't even actually, I had to be careful not to trigger because I felt just a little bit uncomfortable, because it seemed I couldn't even, and I'm a pretty open and friendly person, just even say hello. Um, so the people that you're traveling next to or with can cause you to have some feelings of anxiety too, or just strange feelings. And so watch for that. I see this more for women than for men, but there is definitely like traveling alone on my way back because my son flew back to New York to school and I flew back to Michigan. Um, you, you just have to watch it. You just have to watch yourself and be careful. And so to be careful without triggering the stress response is a bit of an art. Um, and this can be for males as well. You can just have this little feeling of vigilance that you got to watch and make sure that you're safe, your stuff is safe, because there are some not so nice people in the world, and so um, making sure that you don't trigger the stress response, your heart rate doesn't get too high. So keep those abs really relaxed. Remember, that's going to be your power anyway, is when your abs are relaxed. So keep those abs relaxed, and that can be very helpful. Let's see, what else do I see with travel anxiety? How do you know you have travel anxiety? One of the key reasons that people don't sleep well when they travel, especially the first night or two, is that they've triggered the stress response. So if you have trouble sleeping when you go someplace new or you're traveling, that's a clue for you that if you could get a hold of your stress hormones and use the pressure free method, you might have a better job. You might be able to sleep better. And my clients often report to me that that's just such an incredible value because there's nothing worse than being fatigued on your vacation or your business trip. Another one is that your digestive system gets messed up. It's hard to eat, or you don't know what to eat, or you're constipated, or you're the opposite of that. Like things are just messed up in the lower regions. So if that happens to you, that's a clue that you're triggering fight or flight. Um, Getting back to the sleep thing, I used to have a lot of trouble sleeping anywhere new for the first night. By the second night, I would be fine. So I would often book 2 nights just to get a better night's sleep. Um, and now it's very rare that I ever have to worry about that at all because I've used my tools during my trip. So I haven't triggered fight or flight. Then when I get to sleep, I really get to sleep. So these are just a few travel tips and things to note for yourself. If you have some trouble with travel, just reach out. I would love to be of help to you. And a reminder, if you know of anybody in the helping fields that would be interested in pressure-free certification, learning this method, mastering it, and actually teaching it to others, I am enrolling people now, having enrollment calls, and you can book a free call at speakwithL.com, and we can see if this is a good fit for you. So have a beautiful pressure-free day as the sun starts to come up here in Michigan.